Okay, so in this video I'm gonna explain one option developers have to make it easier for customers to keep running their games that I have not seen uh, many people talk about, or anybody. So it will be unreasonable to demand companies to open source their code. Everybody understand that. But here I'm gonna show that they don't have to open source the entire thing. They can just open source a tiny part of uh, either the client or the server is the same thing. Uh, Here I'm gonna show an example with the client. So let's let's give it a try. So here, as a consumer, this is what you get. You just get the binaries of the game. You just run the game, right? So here, this is a virtual machine actually, and here is my actual machine where I'm running a server in Linux. So if I shut down the server, you as a consumer, you cannot run the game anymore. So that's it. The game is unplayable forever. The solution people are proposing, well, they could either open source the entire game or they could modify the game in order to prepare uh, for this sunset scenario. But here's my proposal. This is another option which is also optional. It's not. I don't think I'm not proposing to force developers to do this. Just another option that they have, which is to provide a library. This DLL is a tiny portion of the original game. So the game is split in two now. Let me run the server again. The game works exactly the same as before. But to you as a consumer, like, what's the difference? What's the advantage? Well, the advantage is that this DLL, the developer can provide the source code for it. And then if, let me stop the server. If the server goes away, the developer doesn't need to do anything. Like, the game is unplayable just as before, but the difference is that now customers have the source code. So you can just modify it. Let's say here's going to be whatever. And we don't need any of that. Save. Now how to compile it, there's many options, but I installed a minimal compiler. So sunset, it's going to be a shared file, and the output is going to be live sunset DLL. That's it. I have recompiled the DLL. I run the game and it works. Right? With no development, no involvement from the company. All they need to do is provide the source code of this DLL. That's it. And here in the source code, people can do anything that they want. They can fetch the data from a local file, or they can uh, change the direction, the address of the server to some other address, or uh, they can because they have the source code of the client, it's easier to re-implement the server, even if the company doesn't provide the source code of the server. There's there's many options once you have the source code. And this mm, excuse that, oh, we have proprietary assets, we cannot open source the game. You don't have to open source the entire game. You can just open source part of the game. So this is from the consumer point of view. It's great, but how difficult it is it from the development side? Like why do this instead of doing the modifications themselves? Let me show you why this is attractive for developers as well. So normally you don't have access to this, which is the source code of the entire game. So what do they have to do to create this partial split between an open source part or and a closed source part? So here is the function that I want to move to the library. So I just copy this, create a new file. I remove this static to make it exportable. Actually, I need to copy this as well. Copy the headers to ensure that it compiles. And that's it. I have moved the source code correctly. Now, these are the build. This file called the make file contains the build instructions. Leave sunset DLL is going to require sunset.c. It's going to be shared library. It doesn't need this or this or this. I think that's it. So let's build live sunset DLL. And that's it. I have created this DLL. Like, how much was it? Like, not even a minute. And to use this DLL from the game, I just provide the signature of that function. And in the make file, I just link to that DLL, live sunset, and here I'm going to say it's find it in this directory, game.x. That's it. That's all the developer has to do. And it's not just for consumers that this actually makes the source code cleaner, because now I can remove all this stuff that was necessary only for that function, and I think, yeah, this should compile. Yep. So let's see. Sunset W. So staged. So these are all the changes that were needed in order to do that. That's all developers have to do to split the code into a DLL and then provide the source code of that DLL to the user. Sorry, yes. That's it. They can pick and choose exactly how much they want to open. So this excuse that there might be some issues because of intellectual property and assets and third parties, that's just a red herring. They can choose exactly what they want to open source, and it takes zero effort. They don't have to do any extra tests. They don't have to check that the modifications work, because they don't have to do modifications. The customers will do that. And you don't even have to modify the source code, because somebody else from the community can modify the source code, make sure that it works, compile it, and then distribute the DLL. You just copy, paste the DLL and run the game, and it's salvaged. How difficult is that?